friends, and welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time that you are on my channel, I'm Vanessa and I, and welcome to the fam. So today's reading is all about whether the connection that is currently in your life is real or not. So if you're dealing with a situationship that is kind of stressing you out, you have come to the right video, because we are going to be looking into all the little nitty-gritty details of your connection. So in order to help you figure out whether the connection in your life is real or not, I have prepared 5 groups that you can choose from, and I would like you to pick one of these 5 groups intuitively. So the 5 crystals are as follows. We have the Amazonite, we have the Shiva Lingam, we have the Howlite, we have the clear quartz, as well as the black Tourmaline. As usual, you can find the timestamps below in the description box, as well as pinned to the comment section. And before I get into the readings, I just wanted to discuss a frequently asked question here on my channel. A lot of you have asked me where I purchase my decks from and what the decks are called, and so on and so forth. So the tea is that I do not always want to link every deck or talk about every deck, even though I personally enjoy them, because I may have not had the best experience purchasing the deck. Because I buy my decks just as you would, and if I wasn't completely happy with how it arrived, customer service, and some other issues that may have occurred, then I do not want to link a deck. And I just do this because I care about you guys. I want you to have the best possible experience. So I'm not trying to shade anybody, and I'm not going to name any decks, but let's just say that just as purchasing anything else off the internet, there are reputable sources, there are less reputable sources, there are people who are very professional, and then there are people who can improve a little bit. So yeah, guys, that's a tea on the topic of the decks, and I hope that you can understand that I do not want to link any decks that I may not have been 100% satisfied with. But yeah, guys, enough blabbering within the intro. You know that I like to spend more time within the individual readings because my channel is all about you. So I'm going to be starting off with the first group, which corresponds to the Amazonite, and to all of the other groups, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello, group number 1, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Amazonite, group number 1, and I want to get straight into your reading to figure out exactly whether this connection is real or not. So first and foremost, we have the 10 of Cups. So the 10 of Cups states emotional fulfillment, okay? The 10 of Cups is all about that happiness, all about that satisfaction, and furthermore, this could be a strong indication for the fact that this connection is real and this connection will bring emotional fulfillment. But because this is just the first card of your reading, let's be a little cautious here. This emotional fulfillment could be in your camp, it could be in their camp, and it could mean that emotional fulfillment is already there for them with somebody else, or might just be around the corner for you with somebody completely different. But let's go a little deeper into your reading to figure out more. So we have the 8 of Wands, we have the Knight of Pentacles, we have the Moon, as well as the Tower. Okay, so group number 1, this is a pretty interesting start to your reading, okay? In the Tower, one thing that I see is that there's a lot going on, okay? A lot of destruction. I see that before things can really get better in this connection that we're speaking about, things need to get a lot worse, okay? Walls need to crumble, truths need to be told, and things need to fundamentally change. In the 8 of Wands, I see here that there's a lot of kind of action happening, okay? There's a lot going on, and the Wands correspond to fire signs. So leave a little fire emoji down below if you made it to this point of your reading, group number 1, and to let me know that you're here. Hello. So in the Moon, I want you to know that you have to think very instinctively and intuitively when it comes to this connection in your life, group number 1. This person is going to kind of show you who they are, but you need to think a little further than just what they're saying. So what I mean by that is the fact that they might say one thing but actually mean another, okay? This connection is a very intricate connection. It is one that you cannot just figure out super easily, where you really need to feel the situation out. And I know, group number 1, you may think to yourself, great, why can't they just be a straight shooter? Well, one thing that I see here in the Knight of Pentacles is that they're still kind of learning to articulate, and one part of their life that is really chewing up a lot of their time right now is things in the earthly realms. That is their career, their profession, what it is that they do in order to sustain themselves. So connections, romantic connections, situationships are kind of a difficult topic for them at this point in time. But I want to move further into your reading to just figure out a little bit more about this connection. So we have anger in chains as well as calling the storm. So one thing that I see here is that this may kind of agitate you a little bit, okay? In anger in chains, one thing that I see here is that you're maybe kind of keeping emotions pent up about this connection just because you wish something would already happen. You wish you would already know where you stand, where this is going, and just what path that the two of you are going to go down at a later point in time, okay? And in calling the storm, one thing that I see here is that you're getting to a boiling point, to a breaking point. I see that in the Tower as well, where you're ready to just explode and basically just be like, what's up? Let me know what's going on, because you're starting to get fed up. You want to know whether the connection is real or not. So all of that frustration is kind of a little dangerous, if you will, group number one, and that may also be why you chose the Amazonite. The Amazonite is a stone for anybody who is kind of like a little hot-tempered right now. For any fire signs, maybe you are a fire sign, you know, Leo for instance, and you're dealing with these pent-up emotions that can turn to aggression, not towards this person, but maybe towards yourself or the people who are closest to you in your life. And you're kind of like letting this frustration from this situationship out on the people around you, yourself, your projects, whatever it is. So it's very important for you to kind of get that under control, as I can see here that this connection can go either way. You know, it can be very real, very sincere, very fulfilling, but at the same time, because there is just so much emotion, there's so much energy that is circling around this connection in particular, it could also go south. But it is really up to you. It's really up to the other person involved. But right now there's a lot that's boiling, that's building up beneath the surface, and that is something that you should tend to. That is something that you should deal with. So don't talk to the person that you're inquiring about with, don't talk to them about this, okay? Keep this to yourself. Keep this to the people closest to you, the people who you can trust and that you're not romantically interested in order to deal with these emotions, okay? Because I see that one thing that you're not really good at dealing with is just not knowing, okay? Is being left in the dark and missing communication. But let's move further into your reading. We have sacrifice as well as discipline. Okay, so group number one thing that I see in sacrifice is the fact that you have to kind of let go a little bit more of the fear of whether this connection is real, whether it's not real, whether they like you, or whether they're maybe into somebody else. One thing that I see here is that this kind of insecurity about this situation in particular is driving them further away and further towards somebody else emotionally, okay? So the Ten of Cups shows me that emotional fulfillment is something that they have within their life, something that they can picture having with you, but you have to take action in the right way, which is by keeping a cool head, trying to keep yourself grounded in your personal life and not allowing this situationship to affect you negatively whatsoever. So in discipline, one thing that I see is that you have to be consistent. You have to practice this. This is not something that just comes naturally. This is not something that, you know, you just learn how to deal with from day one. This is an acquired skill. Being chill, not really bothering yourself too much about whether this person likes you or not, whether this connection is going anywhere or not, but you can actually teach yourself, you can train yourself to be more relaxed when it comes to it. So look for your emotional fulfillment elsewhere, not in this connection, not in love. Look for emotional fulfillment in yourself and in your life, okay? Because true happiness should not depend on love or on another human being. True happiness should come from your core. It should come from this feeling of satisfaction that you just have regarding yourself, your life, and your surroundings. But let's figure out more about your connection. So You have Temperance as well as the King of Swords. So one thing that I see in Temperance is that there is a little kind of like another influence here in this connection, okay? One thing that I see is that this person could be dealing with substance abuse. They could be dealing with something that is addictive. You know, video games are addictive. Certain foods are addictive. As I said, certain substances, we all know about those. So one thing that I want you to know here is that that is something that can cloud their judgment. That is something that puts them a little bit all over the place, because one thing that I see here in the King of Swords is the fact that they feel very in control. This person that you're inquiring about, when it comes to your situationship, it just shows that they're kind of in the position of power and they like it. They know that they can go with you, they can go with another person because they have options, they have choices. So they're kind of playing games a little bit on every angle, okay, and maybe playing games with you, which that does not make them a bad person. You know, the fact that they're dealing with some other things emotionally, this could be connected to trauma, this could be connected to just some sort of feelings of not being good enough. So they are abusing substances, they are kind of not properly taking care of themselves the way they should. So having this power when it comes to these romantic connections, as well as the connection between you and them, is something that satisfies them, and it's something that gives them a little bit of stability and makes them feel better about themselves. So this does not mean that they cannot settle down. This does not mean that the connection cannot be real, but you need to be aware of that. And I would rather be honest with you than tell you what you want to hear, group number one. And I really hope that you can appreciate that. And I hope that you can see that sometimes people just like to keep their options open, and that doesn't mean that the connection isn't real. That could also be a reflection of them being a little bit insecure as to whether you even want to be with them. You understand what I'm saying, group number one? I know you do. But let's just add 2 more cards within your reading. So we have the Triumph of Lies as well as Sacrifice. So I want you to know that all that glitters is not gold. That is one thing that I see in the Triumph of Lies. I see that this connection could turn into a real connection. However, your guides feel as though you need to sacrifice this connection, move on to something that is more mentally stimulating for you, that is more satisfying for you, and that makes you leave, that leaves you feeling, that is what I meant, that leaves you feeling more wanted, more appreciated, and more loved, okay? And the Triumph of Lies, one thing that I see is that this connection has a lot of skeletons in its closet. There are a lot of things that this person is not communicating with you. There's a lot of stuff that they're not completely honest about. So it is most likely a better decision for you to move intuitively into a new direction, to sacrifice this connection for a better one, and to just know that not every connection is meant to last or meant to come to a point where you're serious about each other, or to a point where you're heavily involved in each other's lives. I see here that there can be an upgrade for you when it comes to a romantic connection, when it comes to a situationship. And I see that you would be putting up here with things that you should not be putting up with should you see this connection through. But group number one, it is up to you. We have the moon within your reading, which obviously correlates to you doing things intuitively, but the moon is also a card that speaks about people being dishonest, people being deceitful, and there being more to what seems to be there, you know, more things happening behind the scenes. So I want you to really be cautious, group number one, and I want you to know that this connection can develop into something real, okay? Their feelings for you are real, but so are their feelings for other people. So are their feelings for other things in their life. And I would not want you to feel like you're just, you know, one of many choices. So look out for that. If that is a feeling that you get, group number one, make the sacrifice to move on instead of to stress yourself out about this situationship, because you don't need that, group number one. You're beautiful, and there are so many amazing people out here in this world. Don't feel like you have to be hung up on this one connection. connection. So group number one, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that it was insightful. I hope that it gave you a little bit of peace of mind, maybe even a little epiphany. Let me know down below in the comment section what really hit home for you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming readings. Hello group number two, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Shiva Lingam group number two, and I want to get straight into your reading to figure out whether your connection is real or not. So we have the Four of Pentacles. Okay, the Four of Pentacles is all about stability. The Four of Pentacles is connected to the earthly realms, is connected to just things such as your career, such as your time, such as your abundance in the material realms. So group number two, I want you to know that this is a good sign for this connection. This is a sign that things can sort of be built on a sincere and honest foundation. But let's move further into your reading to get into more details, shall we? So we have Temperance, we have the Ace of Wands, we have the Two of Wands, as well as the Eight of Swords. Okay, so we have a very interesting combination here for you. We have two cards of wands, okay? And wands are connected to fire signs, which may be an indication of the kind of energy that is involved in this connection. I want you to know in the Ace of Wands that this connection is one that has a lot of passion, okay? They find you attractive. The fact that they are physically attracted to you, that is one very real aspect of this connection, group number two. I want you to know in the Two of Wands as well that they would like to see this connection through a little more. So they are, what is going on with my voice? So they are definitely sincere about their intentions. They're definitely sincere about the fact that they find you attractive and the fact that they want to get to know you better. In Temperance, one thing that I see is that they're actually holding back a little. They're actually trying to not freak you out or scare you too much, okay? Because one thing that I see in correlation to the Eight of Swords is that they've been through situations where as soon as they were themselves, as soon as they were more honest with the other person and more honest about who they really are, that freaked the other person out. The other person couldn't take it. The other person felt kind of like a little bit pressured, and that may have to do with the fact that yes, they are passionate about your connection. They're passionate about getting to know you better, and once they get to a point where they feel comfortable enough to show that, they want to spend a lot of time together, and they want to do a lot of adventurous things together as a union. But it is difficult for them to get to a point where they feel comfortable doing so. And one thing that I see in the Ace of Wands as well as the Two of Wands is that they're still kind of figuring it out. And right now, just the physical aspect is very intense and very intriguing to them. So you may have not gotten physical with them, or you may actually have, and you're asking yourself now if this connection is real and sincere. So they do sincerely like you, but one thing that I see here in the Eight of Swords is that yes, mentally it kind of freaks them out to commit. It kind of freaks them out to show you who they truly are with their flaws as well as everything that they feel a little embarrassed about or that they feel they could improve in, you know, their weaknesses. They're a very prideful person. That is one thing that I see, group number two. But let's move further into your reading. We have Alone in the World. This person may be an only child or may have grown up in a situation where they were isolated a lot. This is maybe something that you can relate to if you've never had a lot of friends or you've always kind of been a loner. One thing that I want you to know here in Alone in the World is the fact that they're okay to be alone, okay? This connection is real, but if they are a little too worried about being sincere and themselves around you, if that kind of trumps over the fact that, you know, they really enjoy being with you, they can be alone, okay? They are not the kind of person who needs commitment. They're not the kind of person who needs to be in a relationship. They're the kind of person who does enjoy their freedom and their alone time. So see them hanging out with you, see them spending time with you as a real sign of them enjoying your company, because that is not something that they would do unless they really, really like you, group number two. And then we have a calling the storm. So one thing that I see here is that there's kind of like a whirlwind of passionate emotions going on, and this is maybe something that can be a little bit stressful for the two of you, for both of you, because they can feel that you're kind of wondering whether this connection is real or not. You're wondering where this connection is going, and it's kind of giving them sweaty palms, okay? They're not sure what to say to you, what to do about it. They don't want to let you down, but at the same time, they're kind of very afraid to open up and to risk having to commit maybe sooner than they wanted to, because they want to get to know you better emotionally. And yes, you may think to yourself, how is it that they want to get physical? But like, that's okay for them. But when it comes to a real commitment, they want to get to know me better. Some people are just like that, group number 2. If you completely understand what I mean, then leave a little lemon emoji down below to let me know. So yeah, some people are okay with being physical, but when it comes to their true selves, they're a little bit more careful. They like to hide that part, and they like to keep that kind of a secret until they feel a little bit more comfortable. So you might be okay with that, but you may also think to yourself, I'm not getting into any physical situation without truly knowing whether the connection is real. And that is something that they either need to respect, or then, you know, they should move on, because obviously this is a give and take situation. They cannot just have it their way, group number 2. So make sure that you're maintaining that self-respect that you know is so important to you, and that you're not compromising it for anybody else's issues, for anybody else's feelings of being insecure before they're able to open up, if you know what I mean. Then we have reason. So one thing that I see here is the fact that it is hard for them to think clearly about you, okay? They're very distracted when it comes to you. On the one hand, they just want to see how things go, and then on the other hand, they feel as though a conversation is very necessary. So they're kind of all over the place mentally when it comes to you. They kind of feel as though, you know, yes, you would be the perfect person to be with. That is one thing that I see in the Four of Pentacles. But at the same time, they feel as though they want to listen to some advice from some people closest to them who do not feel like they should settle down already, or settle down with you specifically. So friends, family can have a grand influence on people, as you know. So know that they're kind of hearing different things from different camps, and that is making them a little confused. That is kind of putting them in a tough spot when it comes to this connection. Okay, we have resurrection. So one thing that I see in resurrection is the fact that if this connection goes apart, okay, so if you both do not talk for a while, they're going to make a comeback, group number 2. They're going to try it again. They're going to try and weasel their way back into your good graces, back into your heart. They're trying to get close to you again. That is exactly what they're going to do as soon as they feel things drifting apart, or if things have drifted apart for a little while. They're going to try and get back together and mend things and kind of patch things up. But group number 2, you don't have to be anybody's second choice. You don't have to be anybody's rebound. You don't have to be made to feel as though you're just one of many, okay? So if that is a feeling that you get with them, when they have that comeback situation, when they feel things drifting apart and they try and all of a sudden pop back in your DMs, you know, text you, try and hang out with you again, even though they didn't want to commit the first time around, they just wanted to be physical, but now all of a sudden that you're not there, and that you're not kind of just keeping things, you know, warm for them, you're not kind of just like, how should I say, you're not kind of just one of many choices to them. All of a sudden they need you back in their life. So group number 2, watch out for that, because that is not a good start. This is the kind of person where, you know, if the connection is real, they will find a way to create stability. They will find a way to commit. If they have other intentions, or kind of how they feel about you physically is stronger than the emotional part, then they are going to play around with you, okay? And you're going to feel it, you're going to know it, you're going to sense it. And when that is going on, I want you to make sure that you distance yourself. I want you to make sure that you really think to yourself whether you would be okay with the scenario of them maybe ghosting you and then all of a sudden trying to appear again, even though they have already hurt you. If you're okay with that, then group number 2, you do you. But if you're not okay with that, if you feel as though that is devaluing you and just the person that you are, then stay away from this situation if they do not show these signs of stabilities soon, very early on, okay? If they do not ask to kind of solidify their relationship, if they're not constantly trying to see what you're up to, stay in touch and make sure that you're going to see each other soon again, then this connection is not real and not sincere. Then we have the Magician as well as the Knight of Wands. So one thing that I see here in the Magician as well as the Knight of Wands is that there's somebody who has kind of like an ability to morph into a lot of different versions of themselves. They're almost like a chameleon, okay? In the Knight of Wands, I see that they may be of a fire sign, okay, but this is just the kind of energy that they exude. This is energy that is confident. This is energy that is ready to make a change. So know that if they truly want to be with you, you will know, and they will turn themselves into whoever you want to be in order to make you feel as though this connection is real and there is a true commitment here, okay? But they're also the kind of person who is very cunning, who is very smart, and who is able to say things to you that you want to hear in the right moments to keep you content, okay? To keep you exactly where they want to keep you. So watch out for that, group number 2, okay? I see that this connection has a tendency to be real and sincere should this physical aspect not kind of triumph over the fact that they respect you as a human being and love you mentally and emotionally. So it really kind of depends on where they're at in their life right now. If they are in a more vulnerable place, if they're in a place where they're kind of dealing with a lot of insecurities, as we spoke about in the 8 of Swords, then they may not be able to show you that side of stability, that side of wanting to form a real connection. However, if they're in a phase right now in a cycle of their life where they feel more confident, where they feel as though they are really able to show you who they are, then know that stability will be shown, okay? It will be demonstrated, and they will be able to kind of put the physical things on the waiting list, on the back burner, in the back seat, in order to first connect with you and in order to first make you feel safe and secure. So group number 2, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that it gave you clarity as well as different things to look out for when it comes to this connection in order to determine whether your connection is real or not. Let me know down below what really helped you, what really hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Howlite group number 3, which is a very mentally stimulating stone, and it is a stone that brings out clarity, which may be exactly why you chose it. So let's figure out whether your connection is real or not. So in the Ace of Swords, one thing that I see here is that mentally, okay, you are able to start a completely fresh page with this connection, which makes it seem as though, you know, this person is ready to be different with you. So this person that you're inquiring about has a track record that could be a little bumpy, okay? It could be a track record where they were maybe insincere, unfaithful, dishonest, but with you, they're able to turn a new mental page, okay? They're able to start things afresh. And in the Ace of Swords, one thing that I see is that communication is something that is going to work very well between you in the future, should you be able to establish more depth within your connection. But let's move further into your reading to figure out more. So we have the 2 of Swords as well as the 5 of Pentacles. So we have the Ace of Swords as well as the 2 of Swords, which are both connected to air signs. So group number 3, I want you to know that the air sign energy is strong within this connection, and air sign energy is energy that is connected to kind of like the mental realms, okay? It is connected to what is going on in your head, subconsciously, etc. And I want you to know that in correlation to the crystal of your choice, this shows that there's a lot of thinking going on. So group number 3, if you have been chronically overthinking, leave a little light bulb emoji down below in order to let me know. As I can see here in the 5 of Pentacles, that you've come to a crossroads where you're kind of unsure. And I see that this connection is kind of suffering a little bit from the fact that you are both busy, okay? And you may be making more time for them than they are making for you. And that is something that is frustrating because you're at least as busy as they are, but they are maybe not as willing to carve out as much time as you're carving out. As I can see here in the 5 of Pentacles, that work, that your careers are both at a point where you have to focus on them. They're both at a point where if you're not able to actually put in the work, if you're not able to get the chaos of life under control, you will miss out on a lot of valuable opportunities. And it seems as though they are just taking the opportunities and they're not making any sacrifices whatsoever, and you are the only one kind of making sacrifices, group number 3. That is the feeling that I get out of your reading. But let's move a little further into it. We have the 3 of Pentacles as well as the 3 of Cups. So group number 3, we have 2 cards that have the number 3, and the number 3 is a very lucky number. A lot of people love this number in particular. The 3 of Pentacles is all about kind of like celebrating, connecting the dots, making sure that, you know, you're there for every little accomplishment in your life, whether it's a small accomplishment, a big accomplishment, you're celebrating it. In the 3 of Cups, one thing that I see is just the fact that spending time with your loved ones, with the people that you care about the most, just really gives you that feeling of love, of being appreciated. So I see that this connection has a lot to do with celebration. So they may really like to party, they may really like to spend time with you, just having fun, which just shows that they kind of want to escape a little bit when it comes to getting into the details, when it comes to actually tying the relationship knot, or basically saying exactly what you are, you know, whether you're in a relationship, a committed relationship, whether this is a friendship. They have a difficult time sitting down and having a serious conversation. They would rather have fun, they would rather party, they would rather be in a situation where they don't need to think about things that are serious, and, you know, where you are actually saying exactly where you belong as a couple, as a connection, and how you're moving forward. They would prefer to just live in the moment and kind of, you know, continue to allow you to make the sacrifices. They like how things are going right now, so they are maybe just a little bit selfish at this point in time, group number 3. I see that, you know, they don't have any ill intent, but they may have never been in a committed relationship or in a situation where they had to put others before themselves, so they're not used to it, and that is just who they are at this point in time. They're looking out for themselves and they really want to have fun. Then we have calling the storm as well as anger and chains. So one thing that I see here is that this is kind of building up a little bit of frustration for you, group number 3, and I want you to make sure that you're not letting out your frustration on situations where you should be a part of celebrations. You should have fun. So if you have a birthday coming up, some sort of wedding celebration, some sort of like big festivity, whether it is yours, whether it is somebody else's, like milestone in life, okay? It could also just be going out for dinner with friends, and instead of really partying and letting your hair down, you're kind of thinking of this connection, okay? You're kind of wondering whether this is real or not, and it is building up anger. It is making you feel like you're bound in chains, like you cannot just let loose. And this may be something that you're kind of like trying to overcome, but it's very difficult for you. And one thing that I see in calling the storm is that you have to do this calling of the storm, okay? You have to get yourself to a point where you're like, I have to change things. I cannot just habitually be stressing about this situationship, because one thing that I see is that they're kind of a little bit immature. One thing that I see is that the situation is kind of having you take a lot more on your shoulders and have a lot more sacrifices than they are, which is not healthy for you. Then we have her last day in the light. So one thing that I see here in her last day in the light is the fact that you can expect for like you can expect an unexpected turn of events is what I'm trying to say. Some surprising changes. I see that when you are serious with this person, when you tell them like, look, it's either going to work out here or it's not, they may just change like that. And as I said, they're not used to being this person who puts others and their needs before their own, which is why they're struggling. And the thing is, they're unaware of it. They're blissfully unaware, group number 3. So that does not make them a bad person. That just means that they don't have experience with these situations, okay? For them, they have never even thought as far as to what they need to say, what they need to do in order to show that a connection is real, in order to make somebody feel secure. So you may have to just tell them straight up, okay? And the Ace of Swords, I see here that once you tell them straight up, once you have opened that gate to very clear, truthful and honest communication, it can continue on like that. And the Two of Swords, I see you kind of meshing very well. I see you being able to talk about subjects that are difficult, subjects that, you know, are maybe even a little confrontational once you have gotten them to the point where they realize that you're serious. If this connection isn't real, you're not wasting time. And once they realize that you're really serious about that, they are going to change and they're going to really show what they're made of. But let's move further into your reading. So we have reason as well as resurrection. So one thing that I see here in reason is the fact that you have to kind of like plan this out, group number 3. You cannot just go over to them, go into their DMs, text them, call them, however it is that you like to communicate with them. You cannot just do this with rage, anger, with kind of like these negative emotions. You need to plan out exactly what you want to say. So maybe even make like a list of things and how you want to communicate them. Maybe even kind of like mentally already talk to them basically, and just go through it like play by play exactly what you want to bring up. I see that you have to make a plan or else things will not go well. And in resurrection, one thing that I see here is the fact that this can kind of how should I say, there can be like a really miraculous comeback here. If you feel like the connection isn't real and you're kind of doubting it, as I said here in her last day in the light, there is this surprising change of events that is coming for this connection. And it's important for you to just kind of let it happen, okay, to allow a comeback to happen. They may first and foremost not take it well, okay, the fact that you're being very honest and that you're just telling them upfront what you're okay with and what not. They may not take it in a very positive manner, but when they go back and think about it, they may have like this comeback where they're like, wow, I really get you and I never even thought about it this way. So group number 3, know that your connection is one that has a lot of joyful aspects, a lot of aspects of celebrating together, of spending moments together that you are going to remember. And yes, they struggle with talking about difficult things, but once they realize just how real this is and how close they are, say, to losing you, they're going to kind of mature up. They're going to change and they're going to realize like, wow, I need to do something here if I want to make sure that this has an outcome that is positive. But let's move just a little further into your reading. We have the 10 of Swords as well as the Knight of Swords. So we got a lot of swords in your reading, which is very close to air signs, okay? So one thing that I see here in the 10 of Swords is that the fact that you're being very honest with them is kind of going to end the part that isn't real, okay? So they're going to let you know exactly what they want, exactly where they stand, and their actions and what they're saying is going to align and they're going to show you their truest intentions. In the Knight of Swords, one thing that I see is that they're not afraid to just be honest, okay? And that is one thing where you have to be a little cautious, and I want you to kind of already mentally build yourself up to the point where you're okay with them also bringing up things that you could improve, or them maybe bringing up a certain situation and that they are not fond of, okay? Because one thing that I see is that this connection is all about fun. It is very real when it has to do with celebration and being together and just doing things as a group, you know, you and them, and maybe even with other people. But when it comes to actually committing, when it comes to actually forming that bond between two people and making it very clear where you stand, that is where I see the struggle, and that is where I see a little bit of resistance. So the connection is real, the feelings are real. The most difficult aspect is just getting to the point where there is a definition of this connection and where they realize that you don't want to be played, you don't want to be messed around with, and you want to know exactly what you're dealing with. And just communication is one of the most important aspects. If there's one thing that you take out of this reading, group number 3, then it is that you have to communicate. And with this person, unfortunately, you may have to kind of like walk away a little bit and be a little distant for them to then be like, oh my God, like where are they? I need to make sure that they know that I actually care. So group number 3, this is a reading that I have received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it gave you some clarity as well as peace of mind. Let me know down below what really hit home for you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello group number 4, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the clear quartz group number 4, which is an excellent stone to help cleanse your environment as well as other stones. But let's move into your reading to figure out whether this connection is real. So first and foremost, we have the Princess of Swords. So one thing that I see in the Princess of Swords is that communication is something that you kind of need to work on, okay? I see that you're kind of in the stages where a lot of things are still unsaid, a lot of things have been left unsaid, and in order to really distinguish whether this connection is real or not, you need to speak up. They need to speak up. There just needs to be a whole lot of communication that is going on between the two of you. And then we have the Queen of Swords as well as the Four of Swords. So one thing that I see is kind of like this development, okay? From the Princess of Swords to the Queen of Swords, we have kind of communication maturing to a point where you can be honest with each other. And in the Four of Swords, one thing that I see here is that that will bring the sense of security and stability. I see that the connection right now may be real, but it may also kind of be missing a little bit of that depth. You know what I mean? A little bit of that essence where there is more there than just talking about things on the surface, where there has to be a little bit more honesty, if you know what I mean, a little bit more maturity. And one thing that I see here is that you have the Four of Swords, you have the Princess of Swords, as well as the Queen of Swords. So a lot of swords. This is no coincidence, group number 4. And the suit of swords corresponds to air signs. And the fact that we have 78 cards in this tarot deck, and we chose 3 cards that are all of the suit of swords, that is a clear sign for the fact that there is a lot of air sign energy here, which is very thoughtful, which is very kind of witty and quick, and loves logic, okay? Air signs are signs that are not always the best with showing their emotions and their feelings, and that may be exactly what is going on right now. In the Four of Pentacles, okay, we have cards that are speaking for themselves in your reading. In the Four of Pentacles, one thing that I see here is that what they're kind of focused on right now is their career, their job. I also see in the Four of Pentacles the fact that everything is kind of lining up. I see that this connection has a lot of potential to be real. It has a lot of potential to become something bigger than you ever expected it to be, but it is essential for you to, as I said, talk, communicate, be courageous, and speak up. Don't feel as though what you feel is not valid or maybe received in the wrong way, because people regret what they didn't try, what they didn't think to do, you know, what they didn't allow themselves to be courageous enough to do. People regret the things that they didn't do, yeah. But if you actually did go out and be courageous and just, you know, kind of take the leap, you're not going to regret that, even if it doesn't turn out exactly the way you wanted it to be. Because if you've ever been in a situation where you had to take a leap of faith just to figure out whether it would work or not, you are most likely going to end up being very proud of taking that leap and not so much judgmental about what the outcome was of that decision. And then we have the Eight of Wands. So group number 4 in the Eight of Wands, one thing that I see here is that things are moving very quickly, and things are moving very quickly into a more favorable spot. So we have very good indications for your connection, group number 4. That is one thing that just really stands out also from the previous readings. If you have in fact chosen group number 4, which is why you're here, leave a little sun emoji down below, okay? Because we have these wands, we have them moving very rapidly all into one direction, towards the sun, towards the light, towards more joyous and happy moments. So your life is really shifting into a more positive direction, and this connection is going to benefit from that as well. Actually, let's add one more tarot card into your reading, okay? We have the Knight of Pentacles. So in the Knight of Pentacles, one thing that I see here is that, as I said, they're very focused on their career, and furthermore, in the Knight of Pentacles, I see somebody who is responsible or just kind of learning to be a little bit more responsible. This may be why you're not 100% sure whether this connection is real or not, okay? But group number 4, I want you to know that they're kind of like growing themselves, their career, their professional life, and it is a lot for them to handle. Of course, that does not mean that it's okay for them to play you or to mess around with you if that would be their intention. I'm just trying to let you know that their intentions are sincere, their intentions are real. This connection does mean something to them, but their attention is also at a different part of their life. Their attention is also with their finances. Their attention is with how they're managing their time and how they feel like they can kind of make the most out of their life and have the most affluent life possible. Then we have the Bride in a Cage as well as the Artificial Heart. So one thing that I see here in your reading in the Bride in a Cage is the thing that this connection seems to kind of be holding you back a little bit, group number 4. I see that the fact that you're not sure whether this situationship is real or not, whether their intentions are real, where it is going. In the Bride in a Cage, I want you to know here that you have potential to find exactly what you want outside of this connection. So even if it's real, one thing that I see here is that they may be a little bit too slow, okay? They may be a little too slow to get to a point where they make this connection very real, very serious, and where they kind of show how they truly feel. And I see that in that time, you're most likely going to miss out on opportunities, maybe even opportunities to get married, to properly solidify another relationship to a point where you feel satisfied with it. So don't waste too much time, group number 4. I know if somebody has good intentions, it can be really hard to let go of them, especially when you feel like, oh, there may be something there. But when you hang on for too long, your expectations kind of really build up to the point where, you know, if they don't perform, if they don't kind of make you even more happy, then, you know, you would have had expectations for somebody who told you right from the beginning that the connection is real. You have higher expectations for the person who you were kind of not sure about, but all of a sudden it's coming to fruition. But then you want even more, right? Because you've been waiting for so long for this connection to be more real and to be kind of more sincere, okay? So I want you to know that that can lead to disappointment, so try and avoid that. If you feel like you've already spent too much time on this connection, whether it is real or not, you're passing up on valuable situations, on valuable relationships that can make you really feel like you're the first choice, like you're the one and only thing that matters, which is what you deserve, which is what everybody deserves. So this person might not be 100% ready, and that is one thing that I see in the Artificial Heart. I see that this person is maybe still a little bit naive. Even if they're biologically older than you, you are far more mature than them. You are mature and wise beyond your years compared to them, and you're at maybe a different point in your life, okay, where even with all the communication, with anything that you try to establish between you and this person, it may just not be enough to fill that kind of like mental gap, to fill that kind of distance in maturity, because we do have the Princess of Swords as well as the Queen of Swords, and it's a pretty long stretch from the Princess to the Queen. It's kind of a big process to go from the princess, who is a little bit more naive, who is a little less well versed with their words, who does not quite know how to express their emotions, to get to the Queen, who is obviously very secure in themselves, who obviously knows exactly how to convey messages to get them over in a strong way, but to still not hurt feelings, or to still not be kind of, is undiplomatic even a word? You know what I mean, uncouth, whatever we want to call it. So this is a really big development that may take them a long time, and I don't want you to miss out on opportunities. Even if this connection is real, there are other connections out there that can be just as real for you, group number 4. So value your time. That is one of the essential things that I want you to really be honest to yourself about and to look into. Then we have death rights as well as enlightenment. So in death rights, one thing that I see here is the fact that, you know, you may have to say goodbye to this connection after this reading if you come to the realization that maybe they're wasting your time, and not deliberately, not because they're a bad person, but just because they still have a lot to learn, they have a lot of maturing to do. In enlightenment, one thing that I see here is coming to an epiphany about this connection. So you will think to yourself, even if this connection is real, I know what I deserve and what I need right now in my life. And if that person is not at the right stage to be with me, it may be more helpful and make more sense for me to move on. So group number 4, don't cling on to something that wasn't meant for you. That is never a good idea, and it never turns out right. And that is one thing that I want you to take out of this reading, okay? But let's add 2 more cards. We have the Moon as well as the Ace of Pentacles. So I see fabulous opportunities for you, group number 4, in the earthly realms. I see that you have opportunities that are here in business and in your career that you can feel out, as long as you allow your intuition to be a part of that. If you have been kind of neglecting your personal life, your career, because of this connection, because it's kind of worrying you and you're asking yourself whether it is real or not, I want you to know that you did not miss out on anything important, okay? You didn't miss out on any grand occasions when it comes to that. You may have missed out on romantic connections, on connections with other people, but not when it comes to your career. So this is great news, group number 4, as this means that now is the right time for you to refocus on yourself and your life, okay? So in the Ace of Pentacles, I see here that there are amazing opportunities coming for you academically, coming for you in business, but you have to seize them. If you keep all of your attention kind of on figuring out whether this connection is real or not, then they are going to pass you by. And the most important thing that I see for you, group number 4, is to really value your time, set a time limit, and to know that you cannot wait for every good person in this world. And this is kind of something that you struggle with, group number 4. You're a very kind-hearted and understanding person, to the point where you are willing to wait for somebody to make this journey, say from the Princess of Swords to the Queen of Swords. And this is not a gender specific thing, okay? My readings apply to any gender, to whoever you feel like identifying as. I just want to make that completely clear. So as I said, you're somebody who is okay with waiting it out, with being there as somebody develops and grows. But if somebody is not ready to be in that connection, to be in that relationship, to commit, to give you what you truly need in order to feel emotionally and mentally satisfied, then all the time in the world is kind of wasted, because you're not able to grow, you're not able to move on. And one thing that I see here is that your personal growth is something that you have to value, to the point where you're okay to let go of a connection, even if it was real, in order to make sure that you're not stifling your growth, that you're not holding yourself back just to allow somebody else to catch up, if you know what I mean, group number 4. So group number 4, this connection is sincere. This connection is one that you can go for if you want to, but I wanted to just fully speak to you about all of the different aspects, all of the different options, and just what I see within your reading that your guides are trying to communicate with you. So group number 4, I truly hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope that you found it insightful and that it gave you some sort of peace of mind, maybe even a little bit of enlightenment. Let me know down in the comment section what really hit home for you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello group number 5 and welcome to your reading. So you chose the black tourmaline group number 5, which is a stone that is extremely protective. It is a stone that I would recommend for you to place around your house because it does protect you against EMF. So it helps a lot if you keep this near your laptop, near your phone, in order to keep that electromagnetic field kind of away from you, if you know what I mean. But let's move into your reading to figure out exactly whether this connection is real. So we have the Queen of Pentacles. So in the Queen of Pentacles, one thing that I see here is that whoever you're in this connection with is very much concerned with their career. They're very much concerned with balancing their love life as well as their professional life, okay? They're very understanding also if you have things that you need to do in your career, and they wish for a lot of understanding for when they do not have time, because they are very focused on building who they are professionally and making a name for themselves. So you may have thought to yourself that maybe they're not serious or they're not sincere or real because they don't have a lot of time, but truth of the matter is they're not seeing somebody else. They're not doing anything but trying to work on their career, and they want to be with somebody who understands that. So if you're somebody who is kind of like a little bit clingy or likes to spend every second together, then this is maybe going to be a point of contention, and that may be where they turn to somebody else. That may be where, yes, they liked you, but they want to be with somebody who is more understanding of their work. But let's move further into your reading to figure out more aspects of this connection. So we have the 8 of Pentacles as well as the 9 of Pentacles. So group number 5, this is no coincidence. We have 78 tarot cards in here, okay? 78 tarot cards, and the three cards that we received for you are all in the suit of Pentacles. So in the 9 of Pentacles, one thing that I see here is they're close to one of the projects in their career coming to fruition. And in the 8 of Pentacles, I see that they're all about working on that. So time management is something that they struggle with. I see here that this connection is one that is always kind of going to be in the shadow of that, okay, of their career and of them kind of getting to a point where they're satisfied with that aspect because they like to provide. They like to be able to provide for themselves, their family, their loved ones, everybody around them, and they will not stop at anything until they get to the point where they are able to provide that financial stability and provide that stability where they can take time off, be with the people that they care about without things falling apart in the other aspects of their life. So group number 5, this person is serious about life. This person is serious about self-development, and it is important for them for a connection that is real to respect that. Otherwise, they will look elsewhere. But so far, I don't see anybody playing any games in here, so that's a good sign. And then we have the Princess of Swords. So in the Princess of Swords, one thing that I see is that they kind of struggle to find the right words sometimes. Okay, group number 5, I see that they sometimes go through a phase where they don't quite know how to communicate their feelings, how to communicate where they're at right now in their life, and they may be really bad at texting. They may be really bad at getting back to people. But one thing that I want you to know here is that when they are at a point where they want to make a connection real, where they want to establish you or anybody that they're with as kind of like a big part of their life, where they want to establish a real relationship, a mature relationship, they will somehow find a way to make it happen, okay? They may not be very good at communicating their feelings, their emotions, but they will somehow try and get there. So know that if they're trying to communicate with you one way or another, even if it seems a little clumsy or they choose a weird way of doing so, they are trying, and that is really what counts, that kind of effort. Because one thing that I see is that there's very strong earth sign energy here, and this may have to do with the fact that yes, they are working so hard on the earthly realms, but it may also have to do with the fact that they're maybe of an earth sign and communication is not their strongest suit. Communication is not where they really shine at this point in their life, at least. Then we have the Two of Cups. So the Two of Cups is a very favorable card when it comes to romantic relationships, okay? I want you to know in the Two of Cups that this shows that they are interested in a union and a strong connection. They are not here to play games, group number 5. So as I said, they need somebody that respects their boundaries, their work life, their goals and aspirations. Not only respects, but actually really gives them the support that they need, and maybe is even willing to give up up a little bit of their dream, to sacrifice a little bit of what they are doing just in order to truly support them. And if you're willing to do that, they will give you the world. They will be very loyal, but of course, you don't have to do that, and it's not like a requirement to be with this person, but they will be very appreciative of anybody who is willing to 100% support them on their journey and just be there for them as they are trying to build this dream life of theirs. Then we have addicted as well as revenge. So one thing that I see here is that in revenge, you know, one thing that they're kind of still dealing with is demons of the past, and they have been in a situation where things were not fair. This could be a past relationship, this could just be life in general, and the outcome was just not favorable, and it is still hurting them to this day. And one thing that I see here is that they're very okay with seeking revenge, okay? They're the kind of person where if a situation did not turn out fairly, did not turn out in a way how they feel like was supposed to be right, then they are completely okay with revenge, with kind of getting back at the person. They're not going to like seek out to do something evil, okay? But what they are going to do is they're going to basically show other people that they never needed them and that they were unnecessary people anyways, you know, the people who hurt them, by their success. So they're very addicted to success. They're addicted to the finer things in life. They're addicted to money. They're addicted to becoming the best version of themselves. Okay, they want to be that CEO. They want to be that founder of that Fortune 500 company. They want to have the business of their dreams that generates exactly what they need emotionally, financially, and just gives them the freedom to travel, to see this world. What, like, for them, revenge is not about like getting somebody back in a primitive way. For them, revenge is when others can see that they're doing better without them. So they're very addicted to that, okay? I see that the connection is very real if you're able to understand them, if you're able to support them on their journey. Okay, so why are these two cards sticking together? So we have hope as well as nobility. So one thing that I see here in hope is the fact that there is a bright future for this connection. Okay, group number 5, I see that this connection definitely has a lot of very real elements within it. I see that there are a lot of things here that can turn into a great relationship that can really solidify itself by a proposal, by a marriage, by moving in together. As I see here in nobility, that they have very high standards and they have more of a conservative outlook on relationships as well as love. So they're going to want all of that, group number 5, even if they're not a very conservative person and they have some conservative values in relationships. So they are not here to play games. They're very real, and if they're interested in you, they will of course want you to be there for them when they need you, and they will try to do the same for you. But you need to know that while they are trying to kind of set you guys up for life, while they are trying to kind of make sure that you can have this amazing life together, you will have to be a little bit understanding if you kind of take the back seat sometimes, if that is okay for you. If not, then move on, group number 5, because then it is not the connection for you, obviously. But I'm just letting you know exactly what I see within your reading, and I want you to have all the options. So we have the 10 of Pentacles as well as the Devil. In the 10 of Pentacles, one thing that I see here is that things are coming to fruition. Things in the material realms, things in the kind of like professional realms, okay? Things are coming to a point of completion with them, group number 5. I see that they're getting to a point where they're really satisfied with what they have been able to accomplish in their work life. And in the Devil, I see here that they can kind of be tempted to get to a point where they burn out, okay? One thing that I see here is that this connection has a lot to do with you being the person that kind of like holds them back a little bit, that kind of keeps them from burning themselves out, from overexerting their energy. And you're kind of this person, you know, you're kind of the good angel on one shoulder, whereas, you know, they have the devil on the other shoulder. I see that you're kind of the voice of reason here when it comes to just taking a moment to chill and relax. And group number 5, you may be the kind of person that likes to sleep. Leave a little sleepy face emoji down below if that is you. I definitely know that I'm a part of that. So if that is you, then know that you're definitely the more mellow person. You're definitely the person in this connection that brings more reason and more relaxation into the situation, okay? So I definitely see here that the connection has a lot to do with building a strong foundation together. The connection has a lot to do with you kind of helping each other out to become the best versions of, you know, yourselves that you possibly can. And they definitely want self-development. They want constant improvement. This connection is real to them. This connection does mean something to them, but it is important for them that they're with somebody who is on the same level, kind of on a same vibrational and energetic level. They want somebody who gets it, who understands how important their career is, and who is also driven, ambitious, and goal-oriented. So that is one of the main things for them. That is one of the main criteria. Aside from that, they do not have any ill intention, group number 5. So group number 5, this is the reading that I received for you. Very favorable for this connection being real and being able to actually establish a solid foundation to move into something a lot bigger. So I truly hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope that you found it insightful. Let me know down below in the comment section what really hit home for you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming readings.